Hey there, Liz. Hello. I hope that you can hear me. This is Deja Vu, and I've been listening to different talk. I don't know right now. It's confusing. Maybe you know. Who is going to be the one to agree to a deal? Was this takeover accepted? Is Paramount now going to be the owner of WB? Who gets WB? Is it going to be Netflix? Let me let you hear something that I was listening to, but I can't find anything more current. I've been looking. Maybe you know something. I don't know. Tell me if you do.
Joined with Warner Brothers Discovery's streaming and studio business versus a Paramount Skydance taking the entire thing. What does that look like?
So I'm going to do a little bit of delving into this particular thing I just did, but I am going to do it in increments because of the way we are on this platform. You must be 18 to be here. Thank you so much for those that subscribe and thumb up. I appreciate that. Hey, Carrie, are you getting warm over there? How's everything going? So I am really curious because it seems like everything by the way of business is being swallowed up. Monopolies were not supposed to be the thing. They have become the thing. And since we are ruled by a how do you say it? A kleptocracy, where you have like favors and money, and this is the gist of the way the government runs now. It's all about who gets paid and how many gifts there are and things like that. Let me play this a little more.
You and Lucas have already done a great job, so I'll try to pitch in here. Really, WBD and Paramount, more redundancies, more overlap. They are both traditional TV and film companies with streaming services tacked on. Whereas Netflix, obviously, as we know, famously or infamously, depending on your perspective, they are a streaming first at all costs company. So there's
I did. I rested pretty good. I mean, I'm tired. Don't get me wrong. The rain over here has been pretty nonstop. It is making me very tired. But how about you? Did you get under your electric blanket? It's getting so cold. Snowmen are going to need to seek shelter. You're so cute. I like that. But hopefully that's not true. Hopefully not. Yeah, I'm going to play the rest of this and I'm going to just do it in little bits.
less overlap and far more new integration of potentially complementary or potentially conflicting businesses. Now, we have seen mega mergers of this nature in the past, but they have almost always been a like versus like.
Can you hear my son? He's in total revolt. He says, don't let Netflix be the one. He doesn't want the Netflix to be the one. Anyways, that's how I feel. Anyways, I don't want Netflix to do it, but I think it's going to be worse if it is Paramount. That's on a political side. Now he agrees.
Like company absorbing each other. We have not really seen a major streaming service take a company at the size of Warner Brothers Discovery just yet. Brendan, we're going later in the program to go deep on the antitrust considerations. There are antitrust considerations here. But let's say in either event, Netflix comes out on top or Paramount Skydance comes out on top. How does that change the landscape of entertainment? What does it look like to have an entity of that size? Roughly 2/3 of US adults who subscribe to HBO Max also subscribe to Netflix, whereas about 40% of HBO Max subscribers also use Paramount Plus, according to Greenlight Analytics data. So as of right now, the clear raw subscription streaming upside obviously favors Paramount Plus, which has about 80 million subscribers globally.
That's good news to some of us who enjoy our Netflix if we have it, but it is not good news if, say, we really are to buy the story that the votes matter. If there is any kind of sway when it comes to political spin, because he already has TikTok, now he wants CNN. We're talking about the Ellison tribe, father and son, right? And that could be detrimental to this nation. But I think it's just an overlay to look that way. Yes, I did. Under heated blanket. So you have a powerful heated blanket there, don't you? So you hid under the for 1221 mirrored hours? Wow. 6 people to lives to one is mine. Thank you so much for your like, Carrie. I only see one over here, but maybe there is two. But I appreciate that. And anybody jumping in here, please do share, like, subscribe. Don't forget the thumb up is the like, okay? So that is the way to show you like it. If you do, if you like me being out here where I can speak to you when you're here. And Carrie, I appreciate you so much. I hope that that's no. Do they have any forecast at all saying that it's going to go or recede or anything, warm up or anything to that nature? We have torrential downpours happening here. Luckily, we don't live in a lower valley area. Otherwise, we'd be underwater right now.
So they are a solid, growing streamer that's been on original content hot streak since late 2023, but clearly isn't remotely the same size as Netflix, Amazon, or Disney+. So if Netflix were to get WBD, they would suddenly be investing in a lot of new businesses, and we don't know how they would play up theatrical. We don't know how they would handle WBD TV's massive external TV licensing business. We do know that Paramount and WB, there's more of, again, overlap and redundancies. So we can safely say that that would probably be more predictable as to what the future would look like. And it would certainly position Paramount to make that entrance into the top 3 contenders of media companies.
Certainly, David Ellis has been talking about getting in the position to produce more content, in particular for the consumer brand. And just listen to what he told our own Lucas Shaw a little bit earlier in October at our Screen Time event.
We have a good relationship with the administration. And look, I think if you look.
So last night, I was putting away some cards in that little cabinet I have, and I got the massivest sliver right in the bending of the pointer finger. And so it took all night to soak it and then let it kind of come to the surface a bit. And I had to dig it out today. And instead of using instrument, I used my fingernail to squeeze it out. And it hurts like mad. My fingers are not bending well. Hey, Dr. R, you are not welcome here. So thank you so much for your time. You're gone. Bye-bye. Hey, Min, are you AI or are you asking if I'm AI? I am real. Of course, they tell me I'm real. I hope I'm real. Let's see. When I woke up today, I think I seemed real. No, it's not a powerful one blanket, but a heated blanket on bottom. Do you have goose down or do you have something like, you know what I do? You probably already thought of everything though. I take it's not a true goose down, right? But I take it and I make kind of a sleeping bag out of it and I lay right directly on top of that and then I'm kind of blanketed between another one and it kind of brings me more heat. Yeah, I'm trying to keep track. I have to keep touching the screen because the way this machine operates is so different than what I'm used to. Thank you so much, Carrie, for being here. Yeah, I get a lot more of that when I'm on streaming, of course. When it's here, as opposed to the reading channels, I seem to get more drop-in visitors that who knows who they are, right?
That I do believe other things that have been rumored about, right, are very large-scale players that could potentially create monopolies, obviously, in the ecosystem. And again, I think when you look at the lens of consolidation, for us, I'll keep going back to it, it's always how do you create long-term value creation? How do you put yourself in a position to produce more content, not less? And how do you ultimately build something that is better for the consumer?
Brandon, what serves the consumer best?
What serves consumer best overall is usually competition. So I think there is a large sect of industry analysts and professionals that would probably prefer Warner Brothers Discovery to remain as an independent company because it means more competition, it means more buyers on the market, it probably means less layoffs of the labor force. Having said that, that's unfortunately not the reality that we live in. So somebody is going to get Warner Brothers. So it is really deciding which ultimate partner is probably best for the industry. Now, if you combine Netflix and HBO Max, and if you combine Paramount Plus and HBO Max, they are still significantly smaller than YouTube, which is currently about a third bigger than Netflix.
So YouTube must be the king of all streaming. See, I said something about, I think that they all need to duel it out. These are all just a bunch of greedy, MFers. So anyway, ultimately, I am going to piecemeal the rest of this through here, I think, just to get a little gist on this subject. But it's still not decided. I think they said that Paramount was offering a bigger deal, bigger money. You taco wrap yourself in the blankets to keep warm. Yeah, that's kind of what I do. Kind of like that. So do you have sufficient blankets other than just the electrical one? Could be people upset that they aren't getting free readings. Who really knows? But I like all your lives. Oh, thank you so much, Carrie. Yeah, I don't know that I have anyone that would do that, go through that trouble. But, you just never know. You're right. I mean, what makes people do whatever they do, right? There are some weird people, weird things. People will do weird things. I think most of the people I read for are pretty decent. There's a few people that are iffy, but I'm not going to always read. And I think I was told to slow down. That's why my finger is messed up right now. I do have enough blankets. I just finally got finished with season 2, and I'm on the first episode of season 1 of House of Cards. Don't know if anybody has seen it. Very good series. If anybody can or would like to see something that is politically American bent, but it is actually English bent, UK, because it was the first one. So I haven't seen that one, but you could see the original if you wish to. But I'm just putting that out there. That's what I'm watching. That's what I currently have going on. And then, of course, on the back burner, I have Stranger Things. Yeah, at least, you can like layer. So if there was an outage, you would be okay. You wouldn't be a popsicle. The electric blanket, if say you couldn't use it, or do you have a generator or something like this? It sounds just too oppressively cold where you're at during your winter times. Now, I can't remember. Are you up towards New York or the middle of Canada? Are you more towards like Wisconsin, or are you closer to my side? I can't remember which side you said you're on. Thank you, Carrie. Yeah, there's a fraction of people who are just like you and understand how energy works. It seems to be out here there aren't people that are as conscious of that, but I appreciate that so much that you do, and that you are very conscious of that. Um, I was going to say something to that degree. I've noticed a lot of readers are leaving. I don't know if it's because YouTube isn't being as friendly, or if it is because people have become more draining to the readers. Because I think some people might carry. Um, I don't mean to use your name. They might also include with themselves in their energy, right? If they're not taking care of themselves, maybe they're bringing the essence of some kind of critters with them. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about just things picked up in their food, their water, but say some kind of siphon, energy siphon that would perplex or propel them, I should say. Why was I going to say perplex? Propel them to behave a certain way. I have 2 propane tanks and propane heater. Be careful with those too. I am believed close to. It's funny you say Montana. We must be spiritual tribe family, because when I went to live in Idaho when I was little, I went for a Easter Sunday. I went for a sliver of my time in Idaho, in Montana, and for some reason, my grandfather was born there actually. I thought that it would be like a lovely place to live, and so I like had this like imagined fantasy that I would live in Montana. So it's so funny you would say that. But anyways, I think it's because of the nature side. I love the nature. That's probably it right there. But if my grandfather is in my ancestry DNA, like in my codons, maybe the memory in my DNA is stored. And I want to return to that portion of, maybe I was supposed to, maybe I made some kind of a. So it's just ironic that you say that area, of any area, right? I think some people feel people are getting too greedy, not wanting to donate and want, yes. And also, that's the thing. In America, we're getting to be more poverty centric, or poverty conscious, because there's less out there. There's thousands of applications per job in a lot of cases. Um, they're they're singling us out. They're phasing us out. They're doing things to keep people down, oppressing us. So I can imagine people are feeling a certain way if they're coming for questions, but it kind of is doing no good if they're not taking care of their spiritual side. And also, it does kind of lend to the fact that they're not getting anywhere. They're spinning their wheels, because if they don't take care of themselves spiritually, then they're not going to be rewarded, because spirit does have a hand in things. My grandfather brought some of his siblings from Norway to Montana. Oh, really? So you have family in Montana. But Montana is a pretty big place. The population is not real huge, I don't think. So the border, I would imagine at least a couple miles, couple hundred miles or so from the border. Maybe there's a lot of Canadian in what's the word I'm looking for? Transplants. I was gonna say implants. Okay, now there we are. See, I'm tired, and all these words that are popping in, it's like I'm channeling because I'm getting the wrong words. So maybe implants, implantation. I don't know. I'm sorry. Don't listen to me. I'm sort of just half here. I'm tired. Um, my biggest thing was come out here to talk about Paramount or Netflix. I am really tired, if you can tell. It has been raining like crazy here, and that sedates the mind, so I'm not all upstairs. I'm sort of in La La Land, Zombie World. La La Land? Hopefully not Zombie World. Anyway, let me see if the machine will show the script. Okay, I'm going to do some more of the Netflix and Paramount, and then we will talk about this in a moment.
In the US. So either way, there is still a lot of competition out there depending on which industry you're pitting against one another.
Let's talk about good old cable television, because that is where many would say there is perhaps value, and it depends on which side of the equation you think. At the moment, it feels as though Warner Brothers Discovery thought there was more value in spinning off that part of the business than the $30 coming from Paramount Skydance. How do you look at those valuations?
Well, let's stick with a famous Warner Brothers property, Friends. Ross was a famous paleontologist in the show, which means he loved fossils, which means he would love the cable network assets. They are rapidly declining, they are shrinking every day, and while they still spit out a decent amount of free cash flow, Wall Street sees them as an albatross, an anchor. So all these companies want to position themselves for long leashes from shareholders.
Okay, so I'm just going to get a little bit of reading here from the blurbs that were written here in the commentary. A tap on what people are saying, okay? So, and then we'll go on to talking another topic. I want to bring up Max from Stranger Things and Holly. So I'll go on to that after this. Somebody says Netflix versus Paramount for the Warner Brothers I don't know what the D is. Distribution is pure attrition. Sun Tzu warned, oh, that's the art of war. No country has ever benefited from prolonging warfare. Netflix has the war chest. Paramount has the delusions. Who bleeds out first? The streamer buying fossils or the legacy giant drowning in debt? Somebody brought up Amazon, and that's what my curiosity is. Why would not Bezos want to acquire the collection? Because he's kind of struggling with all the boycotts of his products. And it would, to me, make very good sense to sweeten the deal with his prime television experience by throwing in another collection that is pretty well liked. That would be my guess, that would be something smart to do. What do you think, Carrie? Do you think if Bezos was to do that, that would help Amazon? I mean, why wouldn't he, unless they obviously did have some pre-plan and this was all political, so that the Ellisons could have it? What makes more sense to you? I think Bezos should have been the one to offer something. We had an agreement with his siblings when they got on their feet to pay him back. After they started doing good with their ranches, farms, they told him they were not. That is just wrong. So they turned into greedy Americans. It's pretty much the gist of America. That's the downfall of America, is greed. So that's what happened to them. They got bit by the greed bug. I'm sorry that happened. And that he was naive to think he would actually get his money back. So Grandpa said they were gone, that we were to never talk to them again, so they would have pre-planned it all. Yes, that's what I think. Because it almost seems too good to be true for this to happen the way it is for them. Well, not for the people, but for them. And it seems to be just too perfectly in sync. So I think that the Ellison tribe is somehow making a backdoor deal to get things so that they can have things align with TikTok and the not real plays. So that they can acquire much more power on stage with their spin. See, the thing is that, in my opinion, as a person who did take marketing management in school for a little while, I think Bezos would have been a smarter endeavor on this WB acquisition. And maybe we're not done. Maybe the drama is going to get deeper. Not that that says that Paramount won't win, just saying that I think that they might try to make things dramatic, maybe to wag the dog for a while. Maybe some of the things in Venezuela and happening in DC, the Pentagon, yada, 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 maybe they want to distract us that bigly, right? That bigly, I'm using his word. But maybe they are using this as a mass distraction, and they already know the party that is going to be. And so even Elon could throw his hat in the ring. I mean, not that he would. He's not. It's not usually his thing, except for Twitter, X, what have you. But doesn't it seem strange to you? The Bezos, who's already in streaming, couldn't sweeten his streaming experience. They also told the Germans about the jewelry, food, etc. that were hidden, so the soldiers came there. Okay, so I'm just going to read a little more here on. It says Sony or Comcast should buy Warner Brothers, not Skydance. Skydance just bought Paramount. Larry Ellison trying to control everything, traditional, social, and streaming. How the hell is his son allowed to just buy up everything after having built nothing with daddy's overinflated oracle? Yeah, this person really has a lot to say here. And somebody else had a choice set of words to say about the idea of the Ellison group buying. So I don't know. I mean, I kind of am. Let me just ask on that. I'm just curious. I'm just being a real nosy about this. I'm just going to see if my cards will give me an indication. If this is going to get bigger, if there'll be another hat in the ring, or what's going to happen there. Let me just find out what this tells me. Is there a chance that there'll be more than just Skydance and Daddy Ellison? Will it be more than just those two in the ring for the WB with Netflix? I got the Empress. What is the Empress? The Nine of Cups, wish fulfillment. So that's their wish fulfillment. Will there be more than two parties in this ring? I got the Page of Cups. What is that? That could be somebody coming in rashly, maybe, quickly, apologizing and saying that maybe they really wanted in on this. So is there going to be a third offer? I have Five of Wands. I do see drama coming on this. So I do think that there may be another hat in the ring. I don't know. So I don't know for sure that would be Bezos. I'm not going to ask specifically on him. But there could be another wealthy person with an empire, because Empress, is like an emperor. It could be a feminine energy. So it could even be like Sony was mentioned. Could be Sony. Sony is Asian. And Asian is considered watery. That's feminine, right? So I would say we need to keep our eyes open for this turning into a bigger picture, a bigger talk, a bigger debate, more news on this, because clarification right there. I'll get that in a minute. Everybody wants to be on this stream here. Anyways, I'm probably going to have to run in a minute, but I just wanted to share something also. So this is not over. We need to keep our eyes on it, but we also need to keep our eyes on what they don't want us to know about. So while this is brewing, and it's going to be, the more drama that we see start stoking the fire on the scene when it comes to this particular story, there's going to be bigger stuff that they're trying to hide. So keep your eyes on the rest of the stuff, because Wag the Dog is at play right now. So I want to share some of Max and Holly in season 5.
Fred Meyer shoppers get up.
That's not what I wanted to share. And I don't know if anybody left with the... The room looks like everybody is gone, so I don't know what happened here. Carrie, I don't know if you got dropped. I have to run in a minute because the phone rang and I do need to get that. But just a moment, let me play this. This is from the Holly and Max scene of, I think, one of the, either the third or the fourth episode of 5.
Right here at the X, right here. I think he's in trouble with the monster. You can talk to me, you know.
You're Max. Max Mayfield. You skateboard and never take off your Walkman.
I don't understand. I'm sorry. How am I in here when I'm in a coma in Hawkins General? That's a very reasonable question.
You're one of them, aren't you?
One of what?
The monsters.
Do I look like a monster?
Well, I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, so Max is in a coma, so she is in consciousness in Vecna's mind, which, because Holly has been taken to the house, which was Henry's house, that's Vecna. If you are following me, you are a Stranger Things fan. You know what I'm speaking on. I was going to get the quotes that she put out. I'm going to probably have to queue up the show for you to hear the quote, but at this point, I can tell you that it's kind of murky because it seems that Holly has not been sucked into the machine yet. Her mouth is not attached to one of these creatures so that she can be siphoned the same way as everybody who has been victimized, right? Who's being siphoned. You know how Will, when he was first taken, he had that the thing in his mouth, the tubes, the tubes that are actually like living organisms, right? So Holly is right now in a situation where she and Max are allying, but she is kind of aware that at this point Max is good, but she was believing Max was a monster. The creatures that Vecna has, and that would be the Demogorgs and the other creatures, right? So I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. Stranger Things is something that I am going to speak on a little more on the next live streams when I do pop in. I also want to keep a heads up on this merger, not this merger, it's not really a merger, acquisition, okay, the acquisition, because it is going to be important how things play out, but it does look like drama is going to ensue. According to my read here, there's going to probably be another important key player thrown into it, but it does look like in the end, it does look like the Ellison team does win. I don't know. So let me know in the comments what you think. Who do you think is going to acquire Paramount? It's a very curious thing there because it does affect us more than we think. Paramount. I said Paramount. I meant WB. See there? I am halfway awake. WB. Who do you think will acquire the WB products, the streaming capability, owning the labels of the WB, which are like the comic book franchises? I think it's DC. I can't remember all the names that are on WB, but there's tons of them. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and let this go. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Stay warm, Carrie. Stay warm. I hope that you're toasty where you are. And everyone else, stay warm, stay comfortable, stay dry if you're anywhere near where I am. But yeah, I'm going to head out. Thank you so much for coming in, for liking, sharing, subscribing, and I will talk to you all soon. Be well.